Hi there, here's many reasons why INFP is absolutely and undeniably INFPs are the best listeners. They are absolute machines when it comes to listening.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention now.
Absolutely fantastic at listening to people and being emotionally supportive for them.
So what you're saying is that if IDOMs, or just INFPs at least, are as good as a literal rock, I mean, get a statue, right? And get the statue to sit on a bench, right? And you sit right next to the statue. Let's say the statue is Aristotle, right? And you're sitting there and you're talking. Aristotle is listening to you, right? Keep talking and talking and talking. Aristotle is not going to give you any feedback, right? And neither is the INFP, okay? and boom, here's your emotional support. Not actually fixing your problem, but here you go, buddy. Here's your emotional support. What is the difference between the INFP and a literal rock, a statue? Well, you need to feed the INFP. The INFP needs to drink. They need to go to the toilet. They need to shower, etc., etc. The INFP might be ugly, might be not as pretty as the rock or statue. You can customize your rock or statue to your liking, and it costs less. I mean, if your personality is as good as a literal rock, I think it's time to reconsider some stuff. I think it might be time.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more.
All I know is that I know nothing, but I know one thing for sure. Sins have been committed by a fellow MBTI YouTuber. A disgusting video title: Why INFPs are the best type ever. I started puking immediately as I heard these fucking words. I was like, what? I started puking blood out of the disgust. I was like, what has happened to society? How dare you? You should be fucking burned. You should be faced upon the council for your sins. What? INFPs aren't even a good type. They're not even in the top 5. How are they the best type? Better than INTPs? Us? What, are you out of your mind? Said YouTuber has earned my respect. No, he has lost my respect to even say his name. That's how big and how bad his sins are. Today, I'm gonna be arguing against every single point said by said sinner, and I will be proving every single one of them to be wrong, hearsay, defamation, and so on. So, play this shit.
Daydreaming about how they are the best at focusing, and then they pick that one. They become musicians and they focus on playing a violin, and they play that violin the best of the best, and they just picture how they are already playing in an orchestra, and actually they can play all the instruments, because that's how focused they can get.
You see, I'm a musician of sorts, and on my way to give a very special performance.
What kind of musician?
Percussion instruments are my speciality, but tonight I intend to call upon the entire orchestra for this particular event, and would be most honored if you could join me.
And then the teacher's like, excuse me, could you please listen to the subject? Thanks.
So here's an instance of something that INTPs and INFPs are very similar yet extremely different, and I'm here to point out the difference. While we both, yes, daydream, and while we both, yes, daydream to things which might not necessarily have to do with the current, at the moment, existential, socioeconomic status, right? However, when we INTPs dream of something, we're dreaming of a logical plan and a construction to achieve something. And if we go and write that down, then you have a literal strategy and a master plan to achieve a goal. That's pretty useful when it can be. and there is the potential for it to be useful. Unlike INFPs, however, what the fuck do you do with an INFP's imaginary story that isn't even logical, isn't even consistent, and does not account for anything that exists within reality? You make a story out of it, an imaginary story out of it. Well, anyone could do that. And I don't see why INFPs are better than anyone else at it. So, yeah. Here's point number 1 debunked.
Continue. Come on. Now this one, all the rest ones you could say, haha, funny, yeah, but this one's real. Okay, so listen. If INFPs could rule the world, they would actually be great. Okay? When I rule the world, I'll set my world. Hear me out. I think as if INFPs were in charge, the world would be the best place that it could be, because they are just so nice, so compassionate, and just so innocent.
Just because you believe you're the fucking hero and your own imaginary story and your own narrative and the narrative of helping people and good and evil and all these bullshit stories that you've been told since you were a little fucking child that are stupid. You know, but this isn't a video about why morality should be shut down, right? This is a video about INFPs, right? So just because you think you're a good guy, even if you're really naive enough to act upon it, does not mean you will lead a country the right way. In order to lead a country the right way, you have to take the right decisions appropriate to the goals you want to achieve, right? And so the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Just because you think that a policy is great, like communism for example, doesn't mean that communism is gonna magically work just because you got a good heart, whatever that means, right? Well, it does. Communism is just like a random example, right? But it doesn't matter. It completely doesn't matter ultimately if you're a good person or a bad person. What eventually matters is not the imaginary stories, is ultimately your actions and their reactions. And you know, most people, the vast majority of most people do not get remembered for their intentions. Nobody gets remembered for their intentions unless you're fucking Jesus. Unless you get a bunch of people to believe in you and keep on repeating the same imaginary story, right? People are not going to remember you for your intentions. People are going to remember you for your actions and your reactions. And so ultimately, in every imaginable way, a leader being good-hearted is completely irrelevant. What really matters is the leader knowing how to get somewhere where he wants to go and where maybe his population wants to go. What matters is the leader having a goal and achieving that goal. Everyone wants to achieve their goals, but not everyone can do it. And that's what makes the difference between a bad and a good leader. And you being a good person or not, whatever that means, is completely irrelevant to you achieving such goals. Just because you want to do something doesn't mean you're gonna be doing it the right way.
If you need it, they will be there listening to you. It will be the loudest and the most compassionate silence you have ever heard.
Fucking rock!
They are really strong book readers.
I like books.
Not that many people read books, but INFPs are just so good at reading books, and they read a lot of books, and they get involved in books and stories and different worlds, and it makes them so smart.
Pretty smart, dude.
And it makes the imaginations just so good. Unbeatable. Unbeatable. INFPs have a very special and valuable skill of ghosting. If you had an INFP friend, then you might not have a friend anymore. They will just slowly fade away into non-existence. Especially if they don't like you, they won't tell you, they just slowly fade away, they just stop existing near your vicinity. Okay, so if you have an INFP friend, you better cherish that friendship and cultivate that friendship, because otherwise it dies off and vanishes away. And INFPs are really good at stopping conversations.
Okay, I need to make this point once and for all. The mere act of reading books does not make you any smarter than watching a YouTube video. It's just another form of consumerism, okay? To you who read books, right? Raise your hand if you read a book, right? Have you read the 48 Laws of Power? Probably yes. You raise your hand then, alright? Okay, can you tell me top 10 laws? Your top 10 laws out of the 48. You can't even tell me one. You probably can't even tell me one. 99%, if not more, of the content of every single book you read, you forget immediately after reading it, because it is so difficult, regardless of what medium of content you're taking in. You know, I'm an auditory learner mostly than anything else, but it's still, even when I'm listening to an audio, right? Or if you're a visual one, even if you're doing visuals, or if you're just reading, right? It doesn't matter. It's very hard to find information that can actually apply to your real world or to your brain. Information that you can fit in somewhere else and make something out of it. Most information is merely gonna always be put in the isolated category of understanding. Maybe if it's not just remembering, which you will forget immediately, because you can't, if like you know something and you can't make something else out of it, if you can't build on an idea, then that idea doesn't matter. It shouldn't exist, and so your brain fucking throws it out. And so there is nothing whatsoever special about books. Just because you read books doesn't mean you're smarter or anything else like that. That's stupid. Have you ever seen someone say, oh, I have watched 9,000 YouTube videos? No. Why? Because it doesn't necessarily mean anything. And it shouldn't be any different for books, because just because you're reading even the best books, you could have forgotten literally every single word out of them, right? It's about finding the real flex is, regardless of where you got your information from, is that you have a lot of information which you can apply something out of. And so you're remembering a lot of information. And you're not remembering them because you kept sitting there and forcing to learn something that you shouldn't be learning because the education system is telling you or anything like that. No, it's just merely because these information were relevant to you and you could apply them. And so you're a useful person. You're a person of utility, and not only to yourself but to everyone else. And then so that's really the flex here, the genuine flex. However, just you pointlessly consuming stuff doesn't mean anything, and it shouldn't. So yeah, no, INFPs are not smarter.
The quirkiest fashion sense.
I'm the king of fashion.
On the outside, they might not show it sometimes to you until you get to know them, and then they show up. Like, they might to work, they might wear the normal, boring suit and tie or whatever you wear at work. But once they get home, the transformation begins.
Let's work with me here. Ooh, I like it muy macho.
And they turn into just a beautiful butterfly.
Man, what the fuck is this? Man, got me looking like fucking Roblox character from fucking Lil Pump's video clip. I like it. Bro, what is this? They're literally wasting humanity's limited resources on wearing literal garbage. Who thinks that Roblox outfits are looking good? Man's head looking like Steve.
The type is being incredibly sad.
A blood for the bloodbath of the Blood King. What are you doing here? What is this? Dude. So you're telling me that INFPs are literally Roblox characters who go walking around. Actually, they don't go walking around. They're on a wheelchair because that's too much energy right there spent, right? They're more energy efficient than us INTPs, right? So they're going around with a wheelchair looking like Roblox characters, and what they're doing is crying with their contagious energy, making everyone less efficient and less happy than they normally should be. I feel like my boy INFJ, my boy hit.
There's no love like INFPs love animals.
She clearly didn't hear of my boy Adolf.
Rather be nice than smart.
To be fair, he does continue, and there's a bunch of points that I cut out. Like, not only did I cut out all the rest of his points because they're a bunch of trolls, right? But I also cut out a bunch of points throughout the video because there were also a bunch of trolls like, INFPs aren't more interesting than me. Like, come on, dude. What? This is so bad, it's not even funny. If you haven't noticed, this video is 50% sarcasm. Although, I would like to challenge an INFP on a live debate on this channel. If you disagree with my opinions or anything I said in this video, let's go on, 1v1. Another thing that I want to challenge you, the viewer. Look, so here's the deal. Either you die or you subscribe, but you get 3 of us if you subscribe. Sounds like a great deal in less than a day. Same day shipping. Doesn't sound amazing? Well, you have no other choice. So you better do it. Do it. Now.
I'm like, oh shit, bitches drop on me like it's a motherfucking ocean. Call me Schoenberg, little bitch, I'm on my own shit. Yes, I said my own shit, cause I'm getting fucked up by Germany like Schoenberg. I guess I was too communist with her nudes. Showed me her legs once, now she got an attitude, huh? Rude, she should show.